So the other thing I wanted to talk about was this saying that I feel is accurate in my experience. And again, I like to talk about my experience. And my experience is that I did not always prioritize fitness, nutrition, self-care, personal development, reading personal development literature, eating healthy, treating people well. These were not priorities my whole life. So I always, in my communication about health and fitness, I feel that it's really important to state and reiterate that I don't come from a place of somebody who has lived a congruent life my whole life, right? I'm somebody who did everything wrong and got to live with the repercussions and the effects of not prioritizing myself, my health, and stuff like that. And what that looked like for me was 3 years ago, I went to see a doctor and I had high blood pressure. And for like the 5th time in a row, he told me I was pre-diabetic. And he said, Spencer, this is the last time. He goes, if you come in to my office again and your blood sugar levels are at what they are now, he said, we're going to have to start managing with insulin. So I think this is important to say, and that is a super common diagnosis for people who don't have balance and don't have the education about how to eat properly. And the sad part is, not sad, but the unfortunate part is that if I could teach people how to eat healthfully, and like they saw what a healthy meal looks like, and they saw the volume of food they'd eat, and they saw how frequently they would eat this volume of food, they'd probably be like, there's no possible way I can eat all that food and be working towards my fitness, nutrition, and aesthetic goals. And the truth is that I can absolutely show you that, and you absolutely could work towards your fitness, nutrition, and aesthetic goals eating a massive amount of food, right? But the difference is we're trading small volumes of calorie-dense food, small amounts of calorie-dense food, for large volumes of healthy food, right? So it's a transition, right? So it's trading the pizza or the cheeseburgers, which is like a cheeseburger meal with fries and like a Coke. We're talking like 1,500 calories. That 1,500 calories, I could get you 4 massive meals of like sweet potatoes, pasta, chicken, vegetable, avocado, like these 4 massive meals, and you'd be satiated and you feel good all day. And your energy levels would be good and your blood sugar balance would be solid all day long. So it's just it's a lack of education, I think, for people in this understanding that doing the right thing for your body in transitioning into a healthy lifestyle it's not as much of a sacrifice as people think. It's actually learning to eat more. All my clients are like, I give them their macro prescription, and I help clients develop meals that fit their macro prescription. They say, there's no way I'm gonna be able to eat all this food. And I say, please just eat the food. And they're like, I can't eat all this food. And I say, please just eat the food. And 3 weeks in, they're like, I can't believe I'm losing weight when I'm eating all this food. And I say, just keep eating all the food. And then 4 weeks in, they're like, I'm eating all this food and I'm hungry all the time now. And I say, bingo, we did it, right? The metabolism's caught up, the body's starting to absorb the nutrients. Like, you're used to like these larger volumes of really healthy food. So the saying that you can never truly be present unless you're proud of your presence. And the way I like to describe this to people, again, from my experience, is that three thoughts for every one thought. So I'm a person who was not always fit, like I was describing earlier. Health issues related to lack of education and lack of balance around food intake and exercise, etc. So what I mean by 3 thoughts for every one thought is it takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of extra time to carry shame and or regret around my physical being. And what I mean about shame or regret around my physical being is there is a level of self-consciousness that I carried when I was overweight. And this is where it transitioned into 3 thought for every 1 thought. So whereas now, if I drop a pencil, I think I dropped my pencil, I'm going to pick up my pencil. Back when I was not in alignment with a healthy lifestyle, I would think, I dropped my pencil, I've got to pick up this pencil. I hope my shirt doesn't come up over my love handle. I hope that the way I pick up this pencil doesn't make me look heavy. You know what I mean? There was all this like extra thinking and shame around the simplest task, right? And even like around food, I carried shame around food as well, because I was like I was 60 pounds overweight. Like I said, high blood pressure, pre-diabetic. And it was like there was all this extra thinking and shame around the simplest tasks. And so I relate to that saying of you can never be truly present unless you're proud of your presence, because all those extra 3 thoughts separated me from the situation and separated me from the person. And the truth is those thoughts are all very selfish, self-centered thoughts. You know, it's like, instead of being there and aware and present for people, I'm thinking, how do I look? How does this shirt make me look? Does this thing make me look fat? Do I have ranch dressing on my shirt? Like, how is it going to look if I go back for the 4th portion, for the 4th serving of the taquitos? Like, how is this going to look? It's just like all this extra thinking and all this shame attached to my physical being. And I remember when I shed that thinking, and it came through a lot of hard work. Like I said, self-esteem and self-love is earned, right? I could look in the mirror all day long and say, Spencer, you are attractive. Spencer, you are worth loving. Spencer, you are A, B, and C. But if my behavior and the way I treat myself isn't congruent with the words I'm saying, you can't convince your heart of something that you know isn't true. So I can't affirm self-love if I'm not treating myself with love, right? And so I remember the time when I had this transition, and it was probably a year into my fitness and nutrition journey, and I had grown out of my I had ungrown out of my clothes. I was used to growing out of my dress clothes like the wrong way, but for the first time in my life, I was too small for my dress clothes now. So I had to go to this mall and pick out some dress clothes. It was for a wedding, I clearly remember. And I went to the mall and I looked at the mannequin and I was like, damn, that outfit is dope. You know what I mean? And I got some help and I said, I'll take everything on that mannequin. And I just said, this size shoe, I tried on the pants a couple times, make sure they fit, tried on the shirt. And I realized I was in and out of that place in like 15, 20 minutes. And I rocked the outfit that the mannequin was wearing. And when I used to shop before for clothes, it was like the pants that fit my waist were too long. The jacket that fit my shoulders was too big. Like I had to try on 10 or 15 different outfits for the one that made me feel okay in my own skin. And what I realized is that through my fitness and my personal development and nutrition and prioritizing sleep and hydration and all this little habit stacking that I had done, that I had just given myself back hours and hours and hours of free time. I had given myself back a bunch of free headspace, and all of that stuff, all that extra time and all that extra thinking that I'm giving myself back can be used to be of service. It can be used to be helpful. It can be used to be with my family. It can be used to see opportunity, right? Like all that self-centered thinking about who I am and how I present and all that stuff, getting rid of all that through personal development and self-care, and it frees up time. It makes me a more useful human being to the people around me. And I love this story. I love the story of the $100 bill. And this is another mindset thing. I love this. I'm a mindset coach. I'm a fitness, nutrition, and mindset coach. So they took 10 people who say they were lucky. If you ask them, are you lucky? Like, yeah, I'm a really lucky person, right? They take 10 people who say they're lucky. And then they took 10 people who said they were unlucky. Oh, are you a lucky person? No, I have luck of the Irish, or whatever the saying is. I'm not a lucky person. And they put a $100 bill. They had them walk down the same city block, and they put a $100 bill on the ground. And they said, so they took the 10 people who said they were lucky, and like 8 or 9 out of 10 people who said I consider myself a lucky person, found the $100 bill, right? And then they took the 10 people who said I'm not a lucky person, right? And they put them down the same city block, $100 bill on the ground, and 8 or 9 out of 10 of the unlucky people did not see the $100 bill, right? So like this perception is reality thing. So you've heard this saying, like, blocking your blessings. Like, the way we talk to ourselves and the way we treat ourselves and what's going through our mind either blocks or allows blessings. And so how this relates to the story of 3 thoughts for every 1 thought is those 3 thoughts block my blessings. When I'm in those 3 thoughts, I'm missing the $100 bills of life. And the $100 bills of life might be an authentic connection with another human being, right? Intimacy, this connection that every human being craves, is like the ability to connect with people, right? And so when all this stuff is shed, and the extra 2 thoughts are shed, I'm finding the $100 bills all over the place.